Welcome to today's Explainer. All right, so today we're looking at a massive transaction that recently crossed the wires. And honestly, it's got the potential to completely reshape regional healthcare investments. We're talking about two major names here, Warburg Pincus and Integrace. We're going to break down exactly what happened, who's involved, and what the nuts and bolts of a deal like this actually look like when global finance meets regional pharma.
Okay, let's dive into this. 1,200 crore rupees. Let's just pause on that figure for a second. This isn't just a minor stake or some small seed investment. This is a heavy, decisive financial maneuver. When we talk about financial news, it's super easy for numbers to just kind of blend together. But a capital deployment of this sheer magnitude, it tells us immediately that the buyer sees incredible, undeniable value. It signals high stakes, deep research, and a really aggressive strategy to capture market share in the pharmaceutical space.
So looking at the main players, we have the buyer, Warburg Pincus, and the target, Integrace. On one side of the negotiating table, we've got the buyer, Warburg Pincus. They represent massive, global private equity. And what that means is they're backed by immense capital power, vast global reach, and a long history of making high-level strategic acquisitions to aggressively grow their portfolio. On the flip side, we have the target, Integrace, a Mumbai-based pharma company. They bring a deeply localized focus, specialized regional knowledge, and established operations right there on the ground in India. So the crucial point here is this intense contrast, right? You have the sweeping capital power of a global giant locking on to the highly specialized, localized operations of a regional target. Moving on to the mechanics of the deal. Now, what's really interesting about how a transaction of this magnitude actually works is the structure behind it.
Well, because this 1,200 crore transaction is categorized strictly as an M&A buyout, that's mergers and acquisitions, it means we aren't just looking at a passive investment. Warburg Pincus is actively executing a structural consolidation. They aren't just dropping money into a bank account. They're leveraging their massive capital to fundamentally restructure the ownership landscape. It's a decisive mechanism to immediately scale up, alter the nature of the business, and dramatically boost their competitive edge in the sector.
So what does a strategic buyout actually look like on the ground? It means the controlling interest, the ultimate decision-making power, and the whole strategic direction of Integrace is going to firmly shift. When a major private equity firm executes a buyout of this size, they're looking to optimize operations from the top down. They want to scale up distribution channels rapidly and ultimately drive up the intrinsic value of that local company. Literally, the Mumbai pharmaceutical landscape just gained a highly capitalized global player operating right at the helm of a local entity. Let's break this down a bit more by deconstructing the valuation.
And this brilliantly illustrates all the critical data points together in one place. We've got Warburg taking over Integrace in the highly regulated pharma sector. It's grounded locally in Mumbai and locked in at that staggering 1,200 crore valuation. Digesting complex financial news really just comes down to seeing the bare mechanics, the who, the what, the where, and for exactly how much. And here we see perfectly how a massive global entity pinpoints a strategic regional asset to deploy serious capital.
So what is the bottom line here?
There are basically three pillars that define the true impact of this transaction. First off, a confirmed 1,200 crore deployment means this is absolutely not speculative. It's a realized massive injection of capital. Second, we're witnessing global capital bypassing traditional international hubs to directly extract regional value. And third, honestly, this is a massive stamp of validation for Mumbai's local pharmaceutical sector. When a firm like Warburg writes a check this large, they're sending a loud signal to the entire financial world that this specific regional market is robust, highly scalable, and totally right for serious investment. Understanding these capital flows is absolutely crucial if we want to predict where the healthcare industry is heading next.
I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought to chew on. What does a 1,200 crore investment signal about the hidden value of other local pharma companies, right? If a single Mumbai-based entity commands this exact level of global private equity attention, how many other regional healthcare companies are out there right now just sitting on massive, untapped potential? It completely reframes how we should look at local pharmaceutical markets. Keep exploring, keep asking these questions, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.